to Goat Island. I'm your host, the Big Kahuzzi, back again with weekly culture talk. This week we're bringing you more on drinks, brands, plus more FTC for the culture. Culture Talk covers your weekly woohoo drinks, as well as what you can learn from Machiavelli's The Prince, and we bring you this week's Nike shoe pick of the week for Nike as the cultural streetwear brand of the month in Cape Town. Lastly, the weekly FTC for the culture city spot. This week's category of woohoo drinks is none other than the colored auntie's go-to, the sneaky drink that catches up to you, the most ancient of drinks, wine itself. Now, we're breaking this drink into 4 different options: rosé, white wine, specifically Sauvignon Blanc, champagne, and Prosecco. Let's get into it and decide which is the GOAT pick. And before we get started, yes, I have left out red wine. Why? Because the only GOAT thing about it is the song. You know, red, red wine, stay close to me. But I don't want to taste that shit. I'm nowhere near 40 and divorced. Rosé, the pink drink that even gets me feeling like I'm that bitch, often goes hand in hand with ladies' nights and gold trips. But culturally, the problem with rosé is that most will drink it from the box rather than the bottle. Cheap, man. Now, there are good rosés, even great ones. But the popular pick is sweet rosé. Shout out to 4th Street. Great wine. But like a lot of things, they just had to ruin it. Can have nothing nice these days. White wine, specifically Sauvignon Blanc, the drink that most 12s pull their face for because it's too sour and it's too dry. Yeah, it's called depth, bitch. Don't hate the drink because you have none. This is my personal favorite non-sparkling wine and perfect for day drinking, which I don't do anymore because I have these things called goals. But still, it's just right. Not too sweet, not too sour. Less is more. Health is wealth and all that other shit. Champagne, on the other hand, is the pick-me of this group. All the bubbles, all the sweetness. And a good bottle of champagne is great, but for regular consumption, it's just too sweet and pretentious. The French have a way of overhyping their drinks and cuisine. And while it might be fire to say I'm drinking real champagne, it's from the Champagne region of France. Just remember that Citron is also from France. And that's not even mid. Then we have Prosecco, the based one. Half a bottle of this will have you confidently going, how you doing? This is Italy's quick lap back to France's champagne. And I'll explain it in rap beef terms to make it easy to understand. Champagne, ironically, is Kendrick. And guess that makes Drizzy his daddy. Pause. And Prosecco is the boy Drake. Just like everyone thinks Kendrick is better and more iconic, Drake still outsells him every way, and it's not even close. Just like champagne and Prosecco. While the drink shares the bubbles with champagne, it has a much subtler taste and is a little dry in comparison. So basically, unless you're wanting a juice box, it's better. So our pick for GOAT drink of this week's woohoo drink type is Viva Italia, Prosecco with the dub. If it was just non-sparkling wine, then we'd go with the Sav, but I don't care what wine you got. If there's some Prosecco nearby, then that's the only option. Goated. Another week, another lesson in literature segment brought to you by Goat Island. Machiavelli's The Prince offers numerous lessons, and before we give our short review of the book as a whole next week, we've got a few more lessons to be learned in this infamous piece of writing. being willing to listen and look for second opinions. Machiavelli urged that the political leaders he shadowed were successful when looking for advice and finding wisdom outside of themselves. In everyday life, you can often feel misunderstood and that your way is the right way, but simply blocking outside voices makes you more vulnerable to not being aware of the circumstances you find yourself in. On the other hand, taking counsel does not make you weak or take away from your abilities, but rather sharpens an important skill: listening. I'm not saying you have to follow what others say now, but do what you want. At least just do right by yourself and make sure you have as much information and perspective as possible so that you don't rush into what you're doing and fuck up, Another takeaway from the prince is to keep your mind on practicality. The writer observes that being caught up on things that ultimately have no positive consequence for your goals is not just unnecessary, but actually works against you. This should be thought about daily, as we as humans have a habit of dwelling on things that we cannot control, or complaining about why we can't do something, rather than what's required for us to do something. Get out of your head, stop daydreaming and thinking about what you want to do. Focus on what you can do and what you need to do in order to sometime down the line be able to do what you want to do. Because I'm sure you want a Lamborghini, but posting pics of one on your status or story with a hot song isn't doing shit except making you look dwanky. How about, getting a job and paying for your own joint first, and then figuring out how much you need to make and what job or field can pay you that, and then what you need to be able to get into that field, and then figure out how long it would take you to get the Lambo, instead of just posting a photo with the caption "one day" and prayer hands. The final takeaway this week is Machiavelli's assertion that you should manage fear and love. Too much of either is not a good thing. Now, while this is dramatic and is said with reference to political leaders centuries ago, there is still application to regular modern life. You need balance, especially with your emotions. You can't be too saintly, and if you're trying to have more order by seeming too nonchalant, you just end up looking like an ass. So just try and balance your emotions so that you're never too much and never not enough. Our cultural brand of the month is Nike, as streetwear in Cape Town, and every week we bring you another shoe silhouette that is synonymous with the brand and the culture. This week our GOAT shoe pick isn't really a shoe. This week's GOAT shoe is the Benassi slides. Now, Nike no longer produces this exact slide for Lord knows why, and instead have the similar but not quite the same Victory 1 slide, but the Benassi slides with tracksuit and sock combo in the city was undeniable. The city as a whole, with the affinity of Nike, respected the shoes and never wanted to cause creases on the locally called bubbles. So when you got home, you'd take your sneakers off and place them back in the red or orange boxes. And these slides were the answer to what you wore after doing this. The Benassis are slides, yes, but paired with the Nike socks were a fashion statement, proving that even when you're in the comfort of your home or just walking to the pubby, you still had no excuse to not have drip. Another Nike staple that can be seen throughout the city, which reminds us why Nike is the GOAT brand of the month within Cape culture. Lastly, we have the FTC Spot of the Week segment, and this week we're going in a new direction again. The first spot of the week was the notorious Wembley Roadhouse, which is a food spot. Last week was Signal Hills parking lot, which was a spot for meetups. But this week we're going with beach spots. Now, the city provides access to plenty of different beachfronts along both coasts. But as a young person who's looking for a beach as a destination, there's only one in mind that is levels above the rest. Buckoven Secret Beach. I had to do because unfortunately the TikTokers have already gotten to this one, and I've seen at least 100 different videos about the secret beach. So, guess it's just a beach now. But the setting of this beach still justifies this week's pick. The beach is reachable via a private access path intended for local residents of the pricey Buckhoven area just south of Camps Bay. The beach features just enough sand to be considered a beach, and yet with the rocky and firm terrain, your sneakers won't hate you for wearing them here. There's a large but relatively flat range of boulders on which to sit and bloom, and if the wind picks up, there's even shelter from the weather in one or two makeshift caves within the big rocks. As far as beaches go, this is one of the smallest in and around the city, and that's exactly why it's this week's pick. Because I don't understand how every single year, every single school decides to go to 4th in Clifton on Valedictory Day. This beach in Buckhoven is more than likely the least crowded beach that still has the aesthetic you look for on a sunny day, and thanks to its natural features, you can still enjoy the beach on non-sunny days. Good for day or night, and though technically private, no one can actually stop you from going onto the beach. They can own the house in front of the beach, but the beach itself is for all. And yes, they've taken down the signs that say otherwise. I feel like at some point in every young Cape Townian's life, you have been to this beach at least once. Regardless of where you come from in the city or how you look. And if you haven't, then you probably should soon before they turn it into a beach club priced for foreigners. Even so, this beach is undeniably FTC for the culture. Next week, we'll bring you more culture talk with your weekly pick of woohoo drinks, our review of the Prince as the GOAT Book of the Month, the final Nike Shoe of the Week segment, and another FTC Spot of the Week in the city for the culture. Remember, Goat Island brings you culture talk weekly every Thursday. Like and subscribe for more. And if you have any thoughts, suggestions, or issues with this episode, then drop a comment. This is the Big Kahuzzi, and from Goat Island, we'll check you again.